So y'all know I usually start with the 1, 2, 3. I love that thing, but I forgot to put it on. Okay, so so y'all know this class is usually at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. This class is usually at 6. Because I'm still out of town, we've got to make it earlier. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and archive this class. Um, if you have your ICD-10 book, good. If you don't, make sure you get it. Okay, make sure you get your ICD-10 book. Okay, so in this class we're going to do the index, but I still want to go over the illustrations with you and some of the conventions, which we're going to do that in another class. But y'all know I touch bases on a few things. So again, I'm still out of town, so my background will be a little bit different. So what I have up in the front is pretty much what the program is about. This is a self-paced program. When I say self-paced program, I don't mean that you just buy the courses and you're out there. Unless you choose to, you can purchase a course and study on your own. Um, I expect you to stay on target, stay on your target. That's the reason why I give you a schedule. If Sapphire, you need to send me a message, you can send a discussion on how you want to. But if you're already in the portal, send it to me in the portal and I will answer you directly. If you are YTU, you can send me your messages through YouTube. Okay. Um, I went on YouTube, not YouTube, what is that? Amazon, and I did see some books there. So you guys, don't sleep on that. But what I have decided to do was to put everything that you need in the Sapphire Portal bookstore. So in my bookstore now, when you go to my bookstore, you will see the type of books I want you to keep notes in. You will see highlighters in there. You will see labelers in there to tab your book. You will see tabs in there. You will see index cards in there. You will see coding books in there. Yes, go ahead and get the coding book directly from me. I will send you the coding book. Um, and this kind of makes it easier. So I was able to put more stuff in my store so that when you do go to my website, you click my bookstore, a lot of the stuff that you need is already in there. You don't have to go to different sites. Now I do have other sites. You guys know, check out some of my other chats so you guys can see that. So just make sure that you get what you need to do the course. Now, some of you already working in the medical field. Okay, that means you always are already working in a hospital, you're in housekeeping, or you're in billing, or you're a nurse, or you some of you are even providers that's looking at some of these videos. And I'm only basing that on the level of emails that I'm getting. So the emails that I'm getting is not just from you guys; it's from other people who are in different departments, LPNs, surgeons that I already know, or surgeons that I don't know, um, because of not even just because of the changes that's going on. It's not just you guys who need to understand the coding. The providers almost feel like they are outside. The providers almost feel like they are alone because they have had to lay off people. And providers also do boot camps just like you do. So, always, remember when you are learning coding, it is a skill that you never forget. It is a skill that you can take with you for as long as you need to. Hospitals and facilities and clinics need to have billers and coders because sometimes it's hard for you to decipher what codes you do need to use. With the Medicaid and the Medicare, and I'm gonna call it furlough, um, you've got to know what's going on. Now, I'm not going to get thrown off to go into billing, but you guys check out the billing class. And I'm going to talk about billing when I talk about the bookstore. So I updated my bookstore. We have a lot of things in the bookstore. So that's the reason why I got a chat up there for the bookstore. More than likely, I'm going to drop that chat before the date that I have it in there. But because I'm still out of town, I have to get the chats in when needed. You guys gonna have the archive. If you need me on a one-on-one basis, if you want to speak to me live, then you send me an email. Miss Lambert, can I get a one-on-one with you? No, you do not have to be a Sapphire student. You can be a YouTube student. YTU is YouTube University. You also can be a YouTube student. Okay, so let's continue on. So we left off with almost going into conventions, but I do want to kind of go into some of the illustrations that's in the book. And this is one of the reasons why I need you guys to get those tabs. When you go on my website, I'm going my bookstore. It's going to say see more when you go on my website. I might just put that pin at bookstore. Everything that you need in there is useful for the course. I put the index cards in there, everything. So now we have everything in one place. So if you do, and if you are ready to join the Sapphire Academy, just go on and then you acquire tuition right there. You will have an automatic download immediately. Some of the books in there have to mail to you. Okay, so make sure you put your email and everything in there. If you purchase a book, the book will be mailed to you. Okay, unless you choose otherwise. But the books that are in my bookstore will be soft copy, and you will get that in the mail. And I want you to get soft copy because you can use it for your test. I don't know how many of you are setting a goal to take your CPC in December. I have about six that's going in December. So when you say to me, Miss Lambert, I'm taking my test in December, I think I can be ready. I'm expecting you to be on schedule. I'm expecting you to follow the schedule that I give you. When I say, let me see your schedule, where are you? Okay, and that's what self study is. Self study is if I give you a plan, you've got to conquer the plan. Uh, the chats will have nothing to do with it because in this Sapphire portal, the notes that are in there are the exact same notes that you hear me talking about right now. Everything that you hear me talk about in the chats are already in your notes in the Sapphire portal. So even if you miss a chat, you are in the Sapphire portal. If you miss a chat, you are in the YouTube portal. Okay, and you can archive what you want. If you're stuck, let me know. So what you guys see on the bottom is the Sapphire program. The Sapphire program is $400. So uh, you guys can still get in on that program. Just go on my website, okay? My understanding, it was almost 750,000 people laid off um, within a matter of from January to now. And it's so unfortunate. One of our good friends was also laid off, and you everybody's gonna know somebody who has been laid off in this big layoff thing, and it's just devastating. And the thing about it is, I mean, this is a six-figure person, and she's used to trips. She's used to the fancy ship rides and the planes and the this and the that, and then boom, and then you wake up and somebody tells you today is going to be your last day. And I mean, this is a person who loves to travel, loves casino, and you only wonder, like, your world will crash around you. When you lose your job, you lose a lot. But fortunately, she's fine, and getting a new start is always good. Okay. But anybody out there who wants to start a new career, you want to start your own business after these layoffs, coding would be the perfect thing for you. Billing is a perfect thing for you. No, you're not more than likely going to come from a six-figure position and then start being a biller. You're going to build your own business. You are going to build your own business and base it on what you know and what you've learned, where you came from, and then you will know how to acquire those physicians. You will know how to acquire from a clinical facility because they need you to help them to keep their facility afloat. Okay, so when you guys are learning ICD-10 coding and medical billing, you have to take it to the next level. Okay, so let's get started with the ICD-10. So if you guys have your books, that's good. I'm going to crack my book right here. I'm actually on illustrations, and I just wanted to kind of make sure that you guys are actually going through your book. Um, we did the guidelines, so you guys should be finished with that. I'm using the book version right now, and I want to make sure I'm gonna share my screen. I want to make sure that you are using your book to the fullest before I even get to the index right now. Um, the illustrations that you see in your book. So in your ICD-10 book, whichever book you have, go to my bookstore and you can get a book from there. Um, I want you to make sure that you look at the illustrations. Okay, make sure you look at the illustrations because on your CPC exam, yes, they're going to ask you about illustrations and body parts and body systems. Right now, uh, I just want you to kind of go through them. I want you to see, these different illustrations because they are going to ask you A, B, C, D. Where is this? Where is that? Uh, what part is this? So, when you start getting to the C5 and the C6 and the C7, they want to know, is that the lower part, upper part of the body? You understand what I'm saying? Is that the spine? Is that XYZ? And these illustrations will just give you a little bit of an insight on what's in this book. It's pretty much a part of navigating through this book. Okay, your book, yes, it may be different than mine's, but it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, it might be a little bit different, but I still want you to go through the illustrations. Okay, and they should pretty much look like this. All right, so we're gonna just remove that. So the illustrations are going to play a big part. Uh, it's going to play a big part on your CPC exam. I'm going to get to the other book that you guys may have because this book is I have the AAPC version, and I just kind of want to see if they have that in there, which they should. The illustrations that you're probably looking at they're still in the front of the book, but I just need to make sure you go through your book. And that's one of the things. Yeah, they're showing illustrations here, but it's not showing them the way they are in the book. Again, different books show different things. So hold on, let me just see. So this is pretty much giving you a front line. Let me just see if I can get. Okay, so in this book they do have the illustrations, but it's not giving it to me direct. So I'm going to stick with the book where I know what I'm looking at. Okay, so that's pretty much it about illustrations. And again, I'm just kind of going through the book. Um, we talked about the guidelines. The guidelines are very, very important. Okay, I'm going to share my screen right now. The guidelines are very important, but this is important as well. When you do symbols and conventions, so this is a part of your study tonight, the symbols and conventions. Uh, this is how you are going to understand the coding. When you see these type of things inside your test, or you see these things as you're coding, your conventions is going to point you to the right code. Okay. Now, in your ICD-10 book, you should have the same concept right here, the same as this. This is symbols and conventions. And in this area, it's going to show you what certain things are for. Okay. Placeholder X, the red X reminds you that the four codes less than 6 characters that require a seventh character, a placeholder X should be assigned to all characters less than 6. This means if you have a code that has 7 characters and you don't have the fourth character there because you don't need it, you're going to drop the X in there. Okay, that allows you to use that seventh code. Okay, so in this area right here, like I said, the ICD-10 guidelines, which this is still a part of the guidelines, is going to tell you how to code, what you need, what makes sense to you. You see what I'm saying? Because even if you see this in your step by step book, which we're going to get to the step by step book today after this, you still have to be able to identify. I'm gonna say excludes two. The differences between excludes one and excludes. Okay, you have to know the differences. You need to know, why am I going to use a placeholder? Make sure you read the reason why we use placeholders. Okay, well, I just read that to you right here. Okay, so that might, in your book, it may be someplace else. So unspecified codes. You see where they're saying it right here, unspecified. It might be underneath a code. A02.20 could be this specification: local salmonella infection, unspecified. They're just saying what he has, but they're not being specific what type, how bad it is, XYZ. There may be a more specific code, but if you, when you see this and you're at this portion, this is giving you the definition of unspecified. These codes are for use when the information in the medical record is insufficient. It's not enough information. It's not giving you a direct issue as to what the salmonella infection is. To assign a more specific code. For those categories for which an unspecified code is not provided, the other specified code may represent both other and unspecified. Okay? So every time you come across something and you think, man, what does that mean? Head back to your guidelines and it will tell you. I like this right here. Code first. Okay? B39. Okay? Histoplasmos. I can't even say it. Most, how you say it? Your histoplasmosis code associated with AIDS. So code first indicates the etiology code is to be first listed before the manifestation of the code. So when they say first listed codes, first listed as in what the patient is there for. Okay, that second listed code with the AIDS is what the patient has within that. So he probably came in for a side effect of the AIDS. So that's what they're saying, code first. Okay, that's what they mean by code first. I know you can't see this, but I know you guys got your book. You can look at this in your book. In your book, I am on the conventions, symbols and conventions. Okay, and you probably will see this. Just my book would be is a little bit different. Okay, use additional characters. The red stop sign. This right here. If you see a code and you see this stop sign in front of it, there's a reason for it. Okay, so K22, other diseases of esophagus, excludes two. Okay, it's telling you to exclude esophageal viruses, exclude I-85. Okay, you remember we went over excludes the other day. I don't know if we went to a detail, but that was part of your homework that you're supposed to have read. So excludes as in you can't use this code with the K22. Okay, I-85, no K22. Okay, so use additional characters. Okay, the red stop sign cautions you that the code requires additional characters to ensure greater specificity. We loved it, that boy, man, we loved it that during school. You'll see that SPEC. Don't even ask me to pronounce that one. That was one I never could pronounce. Okay, so generally all of your um, conventions and your symbols will be in the front of your book. Everything that you need to know before we even get to the coding part, that's what we are going over in case you see those type of conventions. Okay, and you're going to see them in your tabular list for sure. You're definitely going to see them in your tabular list. So I'm just kind of scrolling down. I'm not going to give you all of them. I'm not going to do all of them, but I want you to go over all of them. The code first, use additional code. The one I went over, unspecified, and the placeholders are the main ones that you're going to see constantly throughout your book. Okay, constantly throughout your book. And again, before we even get to the coding, you've got to be able to decipher what the conventions are, because you're going to see them when you see something that says excludes. Right here, you remember we was talking about excludes, right? I'm gonna put this up. So I'm right here. So if it says includes, right? This one is, remember we saw excludes. This one says includes. So this means that I don't know which one. You can use these. Okay, this is not, this is the alpha. Okay, but they're still codes with this. So if you have I-74 arterial embolism and thrombosis, you can use any one of these codes with this. Okay, tell me what's the giveaway that tells you what you can use with that. You remember the other day we were talking about and with, and with. Look, so you remember with is together, and is two. So we're going with her to the store. She don't even want shopping. Me and Jane is going to the stores. Jane's gonna get hers, and then I'm gonna get mine. Look at this one right here. The word and should be interpreted to mean either and or when it appears in a statement. That's why they're telling you that this can include every single one of these: infarction, occlusion, infarction, thrombotic occlusion can be included in that code. Okay, and here's excludes one and excludes two. If you see something that you've already read in your book and it's you're not clear on it, that's the purpose of you using the highlighters. Highlight it, put a note in it. Okay, put a note in it. If you forget what excludes one or excludes two is, go back to your index and read it. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. We're already 20 minutes in. Okay, so that's some of your conventions that you're going to look at, and there are much more than that. They're much more than that, but that's going to be homework for tonight. I just want to see what else is in here. Um, the bold type, go over that. Again, my book is different than yours, but it's telling you, it's merely telling you what the bold type is. Typeface is used on all codes and titles. It's just telling you what it is. This is my doozy right here. NOS, not otherwise specified. NEC, not elsewhere classified. Make sure you get those down. I'm just going to put this up here real quick. I know your book is different, and we're kind of moving on from this, but make sure you do the symbols and the conventions, because again, you're going to see these throughout this book. Okay, you're going to see these throughout this book. They're showing you some that on the alphabetic index. We went over CNC also the other day. Make sure you go over it again. Use of additional characters. We went over that already. That's the stop sign, right? Use of additional characters. We didn't do brackets. So these conventions that you hear me talking about are conventions that is a possibility to be on your text. Okay, so etiology code first, followed by their manifestation code in brackets. In brackets. Okay, the code in brackets is always to be sequenced second. Okay, these are the brackets. Don't get the brackets mixed up with the parentheses. You see this? I know you can't see this, but you know, like the square ones, they're brackets, like square, like this. The dog never barks. I don't understand why he barks. He's this big. He's this big. He don't even talk. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you saw that. Okay, and they don't show too many in here, but it's not really that much. Let's see. Y'all know about the F codes, cigarettes, drinking. This dog never barks. Okay, so that's the only thing I can see right there. But again, you know, make sure you guys read those illustrations, okay, and make sure you get the symbols and the conventions. All right, so okay, so as far as our introduction is concerned, this is it here, and in the introduction, let me go back so you can see what I just did. Um, and again, this is us going through your book. This is us going through your coding book. And that's what you have to get used to, especially those of you who are new to coding, new to looking at these books, new to looking at a CPT book. It's all about getting book friendly and getting familiar with your book. Even though we're going over symbols and conventions and a couple other things in the guidelines, before you can even hit making a code, I've got to make sure that you understand what you're looking at. Uh, it's going to take time. Just like I said, this class is a lot longer than the classes that we have previously had. I'm telling you right now. Okay. So if you got your book, that's the purpose of you having your time after me. Okay. So as far as the introduction in this book, we've done introductions in different AAPC, we did AMA. This is just a book version, and it is the same thing. And this is another way for me to show you that most of the books are the same. See, this is the same thing. The part one introduction that we already went over, um, uh, International Classification of Diseases, 10th revision. That's your ICD-10-CM. So if you have something on your test, what is ICD-10, I can't even say ICD-10-CM. That's what you want to pick. American Hospital Association, AHA. We went over all of this, so we don't have to go over this now. Again, what's in your guidelines of your book, it should be the same across the books. Just get a book that you're going to be familiar with. In my bookstore, I have both books. I have the AAPC version, and I also have the AMA version. Okay, no, I'm not using. I don't use Optum 360. I only use the AMA or the AAPC. For the teaching, I use the book for the teaching because it'll be a little bit more in depth. This is a teacher's book. So, in my book, ICD-10-CM Official Guidelines for Coding and Reporting, you have the same thing. Okay. So, I am in, again, Section 1 Conventions, General Coding Guidelines, and Chapter Specific Guidelines. So, they're going to ask you what's in here. You guys remember when I told you when you get to this part, this is where we're at right now. So, if you've got your book, this is where we're at. Okay. We're talking about the conventions and the symbols. Now, here, they're just giving you an idea of what you're going to be looking at. And this is what you're supposed to be reading. This is your homework. Okay. So the alphabetic index and tabular list, we're going to go over that as well. But we're doing the index first. Okay. We're doing the index first. We do the tabular list after. Okay. Your format and structure. Use of codes for reporting purposes. Placeholder. Remember, we just talked about the placeholder. I just showed you like what it looks like. Seventh character, we talked about the seventh character. If you have to use the seventh character and you don't have five, you're going to use a placeholder, right? The abbreviations in the index, the tabular index. Where's the tabular list? Good. In the back of the ICD-10 book. Okay, in the back of the ICD-10 book. In the PCS book, you see it in the front. I'm not going to mention PCS. I don't want you to get confused with PCS. I had somebody ask you that to establish as a PCS, but we didn't know. It's just for, just letting you know that there is a PCS book out there. Okay, and that is AIMA will teach that. Okay, punctuations, use of and, excludes notes. Okay, inclusion terms, excludes notes, excludes one, excludes two, right here. And but generally, you guys should have already done this portion right here. Um, the reading portion. As far as the execution, not yet. Okay, general coding guidelines, sequela, late effect, laterality, syndromes. This is part of the guidelines. C, specific coding guidelines. Chapter 2, neoplasms. Okay, now we start going down to sections. Okay, so that stop right there. Chapter C. That's where you're going to stop at. That's where you're going to stop at. So today, don't go to chapter C. Today, we're only doing B and A. Okay, so section 1, conventions, general coding guidelines, and chapter specific guidelines. Okay, so A, conventions, B, general coding guidelines. Okay, excuse me. Stop at C. Stop at chapter specific guidelines. Because chapter specific guidelines, let me show it to you. Chapter specific guidelines are when we're going to start discussing the codes. Okay, the codes, the series, and the sections. So that's where I want you to stop here, because we've got to finish the understanding of the guidelines and what you're going to see. So, so in your book, right, it says ICD-10. Let me show you. I don't know if I can. Look, you see this right here? This is where we're at. ICD-10-CM official guidelines for coding and reporting. This is section 1, right? So remember, your guidelines in the ICD-10 has 3 sections, right? This one is the one that we're going to focus on. A and B. That's it. Do not move on to C yet. Okay, don't move on to C. So if we're up here, I'm passing C because C is giving us our chapters, right? Now I'm on section 2, selection of principal diagnosis. Okay, reporting additional diagnosis. I'm just kind of scrolling down so we can get to the right place. This is where I want right here. So in your book, you guys go ahead and scroll down to where you're going to start seeing definitions. Like, okay, so let me tell you where it is. Right under where it says Appendix 1, you're going to see Section 1, Convention, General Coding, and Chapter-Specific Guidelines. But now it's going to be more complicit. Now it's going to start giving you more. See how this is? And you remember the first one that we saw, it's just telling you what we're getting ready to look at. So right here, I'm pointing like y'all can see. Okay, I'm going to use the mouse. So you see how this is giving you definitions now? Let me scroll down so you can see. You see how this is giving you definitions now, right? It's giving you full definitions of what this is, right? Placeholder. Now, when I came up here, look, you see me scrolling back? It's just telling you, we're in the ICD-10 book. Your book is the same thing. It's just telling you what you're getting ready to start reading. If AAPC says, what is in section 1A9, other and unspecified code. See if AAPC says, tell them what is in section 1, point A, right? 7, 8. Punctuation 7 is use of and. And it's not going to say it with any words. It's just going to have an I, maybe the A, the 1, it's going to have something like that. So you have to decipher what it is. Okay. So let me just get back to that. So again, in your book, you've already seen this part. The first part in section 1 says the same thing, but it's just giving you a little bit of an outline as to what you're getting ready to get into. Okay. So again, this is section 1. You guys is just giving you an outline, right? It's not giving you any pages or anything like that. All of what you see here is what you need to know. Okay. What is the format and structure? We read some of that already. Okay, we read some of that already. Abbreviations, CNC also, and in with, right? We did some of that, right? Okay, so when you scroll down in your book, I don't know if you guys have ebooks or not, but just get to the same section. Get to the same section. Skip over section 2, section 3. We're doing conventions. Okay. So now we are at the conventions. Okay. Now we are at where they're explaining what the conventions are, right? So if you say A, conventions for the ICD-10-CM, The conventions for the ICD-10-CM are the general rules for use of the classification, independent of guidelines. These conventions are incorporated within the alphabetic index and the tabular list of the ICD-10-CM and instructional notes. The alphabetic index and the tabular list. Okay, so let me show you where I'm at because this will be your homework. Again, um, we're still getting used to those guidelines. This is where you should be. This is where you should be. So I don't know if I did the whole thing, but let me go back again. Let me go back again. Okay, and you can write in your own book. Okay, here, section 1, conventions, general coding, and guidelines. This is your outline. This is your outline of what you get ready to look at. Okay, this is what you need to know. I'm gonna use it as a subjective, objective, whatever you want to call it. This is what you need to know. Okay, so now we go down or turn your page. Okay, this is section, so we're not going over that yet. This is where I want you. Okay, because we just did just conventions and the symbols, right? So now I want you to start studying the convention, start studying the format, start studying what the alphabetic index is. The alphabetic index and the tabular list. The ICD-10-CM is divided into alphabetic index, an alphabetical list of terms and their corresponding codes. Yes, you will need this. And the tabular list, a structured list of codes divided into chapters based on body systems or conditions. So if you are remember, there's a beginning class. We're starting from the beginning. This is a beginner class. So you remember, I start from the complete beginning. This is where we are from the beginning. So in your index, you will put a word, you will put a term, you will put a terminology, and you will find it. Remember, we went over that the other day as a dictionary. You will find your terminology. Okay, this is where we are, y'all. This is where we are. You will find your terminology. We're going over this right now. Once you find that terminology, it's going to give you a code. You're going to check that code in the tabular list. We're not up to coding yet, but you guys are almost there. And in your conventions, this is just telling you that what you are getting ready to do. So this is telling you the differences between the index. It's telling you the difference between the tabular list. Okay, I'm just kind of going over it, but you guys are going to read it. That's your homework. So this is where we are right here. That's your homework. Okay, so I'm going to hit you up with this again. Okay, the ICD-10-CM is divided into the alphabetic index and the alphabetical list of terms and their corresponding code. And the tabular list, a structured list of codes, right? Divided into chapters based on body, system, and or condition. The alphabetic index consists of the following parts: the index of diseases and injury. That's the first part, right? The index of external causes of injury. That's in the back of that, right? That's probably your last chapters. External causes of injuries. You got hit by cars. You got burned out. Okay, she wasn't sickly. Okay, the table of neoplasms is also there, and the table of drugs and chemicals. Okay, and this is a perfect example right here of C sections 1.C.2 neoplasms. And that's the kind of stuff they're going to ask you on your CPC. I'm just going to put this right here so you can see. You see how they had this right here? And then AAPC is going to give you multiple choice. This is why you have to know your guidelines. You see how this is? Section 1, C, and then I can't see it. That was like 2 or something. That's what they're going to ask you. They're going to say, what chapter is the neoplasms in? Right here. This is a good example. They're going to say neoplasm. Where is it? And then they're going to give you multiple choice looking like this, IC2, IC9, or whatever. And you're going to have to pick which one. That's the reason why they want you to go over the guidelines in ICD-10. Okay, you have to read them. I said 3 times. I meant 20. Okay, you have to continue to read your guidelines in order for you to get used to this. Okay, in the Sapphire portal, there will be a class tonight. I'm gonna try to do it in there tonight, but I know you guys may not be able to make it in there, but I may do an archive on it. So how I may do that class, it will be a video, it will not be a live class, because of how I will go over this more explicit in the Sapphire Academy. Okay. So YTU, I'm just trying to put you in the right place. Okay. So again, format and structure. Okay, the ICD-10-CM tabular list contains categories, subcategories, and codes. Okay, you must write that down. Go to my bookstore and go and buy some of those books in there. You guys know I always have books to make sure I'm writing down stuff that I need to know. Okay, you can't see this because I'm on like a green screen thing. Well, I ordered the green screen because I need to make sure y'all see me. But I kind of like sneaking this in here. This is like what some books that are in my bookstore now. Okay, to make sure you can do what you need to do. Okay. So yes, we want to make sure of that. All right. And anybody who wants to join the Sapphire Academy, go to my website. All right. And here's, I didn't put this up yet, but there's that Kindle book for temporary. But that's how we're going to go over this. Okay. So and you guys let me know. I still have like about another, I have another extra hour that I can put in. But I need to make sure you guys are understanding how to go through this. Valerie, if you're on this chat, this is how you're going to go through your ICD-10 book. Make sure that you get your guidelines. These are considered guidelines, okay? Use of code for reporting purposes. For reporting purposes, only codes are permissible, not categories or subcategories, and any applicable seventh character is required. If the seventh, what they mean by that is if a code is requiring a seventh character, you must put it. You cannot drop the claim without the seventh character. It will kick back. Okay. So that's what it's telling you. Okay, here. This is crucial. Make sure you are able to decipher this. After this class, I will be in the portal. So anybody who wants to get me, physicians at sapphirecoding.com, make sure you guys send me an email. I'm going to be in the Sapphire Academy portal. Um, Erica, I'm going to be in the Sapphire Academy portal. Make sure you come up in there. Make sure that you guys are reading these guidelines. You see the seventh character. When you get ready to start doing your coding, you're gonna need to make sure that you've got that seventh character. Okay, if it is needed. Okay, and it's the seventh character. It specifies more of what's wrong with the patient. And some of us old schoolers, when we used to have ICD-9, we understood why we needed ICD-10 because ICD-10 it uses more it uses more numeric, but it describes your code better. In ICD-9, we were limited. We were limited to how we can actually explain this code fully. So when you think of ICD-9 and ICD-10, you can see how in depth the ICD-10 is. And once we all realized that, we were like, yeah, we want to use ICD-10. And when it first came, we were all clueless. Nobody wanted to use ICD-10. But after a while, we were like, well, it is kind of better than that. And it showed, yes, we're not, you can see the difference because there were no seventh characters or anything in nine. I when they started talking, I was like, wow, that's cool. So you guys just make sure that you get that down. All right. Abbreviations, your alphabetic index abbreviations, NEC, not elsewhere classifiable. So listen to this. I'm gonna do NEC and OS. Listen to this. This is why I'm telling you, you gotta have index cards. Go to my store, go to my bookstore and get those index cards. Nina wants to see my bookstore. I'm gonna put the bookstore up in a little bit. So index cards will help you to retain this. Look, you see where it says abbreviations and alphabetic index. That's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm getting ready to do NEC and NOS. They're so similar in description. You have to put them on an index card so you can decipher them. NEC, not elsewhere classifiable. NOS, not otherwise specified. NEC. This abbreviation in the alphabetic index represents other specified. When a specific code is not available for a condition, the alphabetic index directs the coder to the other specified code in the tabular list. You see that? So when you start coding, yeah, you need to make sure you know what the NEC is because it is directing you somewhere else. Okay. If you're not set on it, then you have to find something that's going to justify your code. Okay. NOS. This abbreviation is the equivalent of unspecified. You could tell that by sitting up here saying otherwise, other specified. It says not otherwise specified. And then it says other specified. I'm pointing, but you can't see me. Okay. Well, this is what I'm talking about right here. You see where it says other specified? And then when you go down and it says NOS, not other specified. Good. That's what I'm talking about. What the mhm. The more you read it, the more you're able to decipher the differences that they are telling you. Okay. Punctuation here. These are the brackets we were talking about right here. Yes, this is CPC stuff. Make sure that you get this down. Okay. These are very crucial. So this is your punctuations. And believe it or not, we're still in the guidelines. Okay, we're still in the guidelines. But in your book, you will know where you're at. You see section 1A dot 14. 1 decimal A, I don't know what you want to call it. 1 decimal A decimal 14 decimal. Use of term and. I'm gonna show you that because that looks like something that's gonna be on your CPC. So you see how they're saying like these decimals and they're saying A decimal 1 4. That's the way AAPC describes what they want you to find in your guidelines. That's why it's so important for you to know the guidelines. There's no coding without the guidelines. In your CPT book, um, I know we're not talking about CPT yet, but in your CPT book, there's guidelines during each section, and it is the same with this section. You know, the guidelines are there. Okay, this is going to be the longest one. It excludes notes and excludes one. Okay, totally different. Now we're going into after this. I'm going into Sapphire, so we can go ahead and talk about this. So when you guys see me in Sapphire, you know that green check is on. You know that I'm already in there, and I'm about to do this class in there. Okay. This chat is also going to go in there. Talking to the Sapphire students, this chat's going to go in there, but this chat is going to continue. Um, it's going to continue in the Sapphire portal. Code also, because we have to go over this, and I have to go over this in depth. And I only have an hour to go over this, but this is where I'm at right here, y'all. I want y'all to stay here. Okay, that's your guidelines. Okay, now if you need your ICD-10 book, go to my bookstore. This prevents you from missing out on having a book. Okay, multiple coding for conditions. Okay, combination code, sequela. You guys hear me talk about sequela all the time, and that's really like a late effect of something that happened prior. And most of the time, that's in the injuries. Okay, at the back of the book, external injuries. Okay. Um, Impending or threatened condition. Code any condition described at the same time of discharge as impending. If you are studying, it's no way that you cannot be able to decipher a code or a reason why you are coding a description or why you are coding a report the way that you are. Uh, there are justifications. And again, the hardest thing you're going to do is pass your CPC. Once you get in the doctor's office or the hospital, it's an AI system that's actually going to pick the code. You put it in, and the code is going to pop out. But you still have your coding books. If you are leery of that, you have to make sure that that AI is giving you the right code. We're talking about AI as in coding systems, Optum 360, in clinics. I think ECW actually has one now. Okay. They also have one for Dana for doctors' offices. One of my girlfriends said that they have one for their office, but everybody has one. Everybody has a coding system that they use. Uh, we have one in the Sapphire Academy. Once we finish with this, then we're going to go into that, and I'll show you guys how that thing works when you're actually in the hospital. Like I said, the hardest thing that we are going to do is for you guys to pass your CPC. Stick to the guidelines that we just went over. These are some of the most crucial things that you're going to do right here. That laterality, make sure that you read that in its entirety. Make sure you read that in its entirety. When I'm on a live class, some of you can get in and some of you can't. Even if you archive this, you still can get in touch with me if you have a question. This is for YTU. The Sapphire portal, as soon as I finish with this, I'm jumping into the Sapphire portal because I got to go over this a little bit more. We will not be finished with this. YTU, we are going to have a second guidelines version. This is a second version. So this portion that we are doing right now is the section 1. Okay, so we're in section 1. Okay, and section 1 is big, but we're in section 1 and we're doing the conventions. Okay, now I'm gonna jump into my step-by-step book in just a second. Documentation by clinicians other than the patient's provider. Okay, this is a good one right here, and it also has your body mass index, and it has a lot of definitions down here that you do need to know. Code assignment is based on documentation by the patient provider, physician or other qualified healthcare practitioner legally accountable for establishing the patient's diagnosis. So a lot of things that some of y'all are already in a doctor's office, and this should be a little bit easier for y'all. And some of y'all might be moving on to other things, but you have to read the guidelines. When you start the coding, I can't stress this enough. When you start the coding, it will become easy to you. Those of you who are in the Sapphire Academy, the files that you have in there, those are the notes for these classes. Those are the notes for these classes. If you miss a class, Sapphire Academy, you have notes. If you don't feel like reading those notes, use AI to read the notes. Use AI to read your notes. Like how you guys archive this and you're hearing me talking and you have your books open. In the Sapphire Academy, you have notes in there with your videos. You can open up those chats and the notes at the same time, or you can just download your notes and have AI read those notes to you. If you say, what is Miss Lambert talking about? Okay, that's when we need a DB. So that's when you would discussion board me. Miss Lambert, I'm right here and I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so we're gonna go over that. Okay, so let me know. Now, I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment so that I can kind of adjust to some of my students that are in different time zones. It's now 2:52. I am going into the portal, and this is especially for you, Valerie. I'm going in the portal to make sure that you have any questions. Tanisha, this is for you too. You live on the other side in Dallas, so I have a couple of students that have different times. Okay, so I want y'all to make sure. Okay, Samara, you too. You live in Canada. I want to go in the portal. Okay, but again, we are here. We are still in the guidelines, and I'm going in my book. But I just want to make sure that I'm on the right page. We talk about the BMI. Yes, I want you to stay in section 1. Section 1, see section 121, section 1. I'm just trying to see how long this section is. Septic severe disease. Okay, so that looks like we started into section 2, section C, chapter 1. Okay, so remember, we are not headed towards C. We're not headed towards C. Okay, we are not headed towards C. I want you guys to stay in the conventions right now. Acute and chronic. Acute and chronic is the same condition. It's described as both acute and chronic. Now, this don't tell you which one you're going to code first. And separate sub-injuries. Separate as in the record, he states it here, and then he states it here. Okay, it's the same condition. If the same condition is described as both acute and chronic and separate sub-entries exist in the alphabetic index at the same indentation level, code both and sequence the acute first. Y'all got any questions on that one? I'm gonna put this right here. This is part of your reading tonight. I'm just kind of going over it. This is part of your reading tonight. Okay, this was Sapphire Academy too. This is part of your reading. Okay, so I definitely want you to kind of go into that, and you don't have to stop where I'm telling you to stop at. Okay, you can go further, but that's where I want you to stop at is with those conventions. Okay, with the C also. But if you want to go down to B, that's fine. B as in the general coding guidelines. Okay. Let me see. Let me give you a stop, please. All right. So yeah, I want you to go down there. I still just want you to. Here it is. Look, let me show you where I want y'all to stop at. Right here. See, when you get to C, I want you to stop at C because that's where you're going to start talking about sections. And this is where, like how we did the language of medicine. And in the language of medicine, they started talking in sequence. That's how this is in sequence. So I want you to stop right here. Okay, we're gonna do that together. Some of you, hi, how are you? Hi, Mina. So I'm getting ready to jump into the Sapphire Academy. But this is for you guys on Y2U. We are stopping right here. In the Sapphire Academy, I have to go into that classroom now because in the Sapphire Academy, we go further. We must talk about this. But Y2U, you guys will probably have an additional class. But you see right here, this is where I want you to stop at. C, chapter-specific coding guidelines. We're still in section 1, remember? But here is where I want you to stop because that's where the gusto is getting ready to get. I need to make sure that everybody is clear on this. Okay? Make sure you're clear on, I'm scrolling up because this is what we're supposed to be. Okay? Documentation by clinicians. Make sure you're clear on that. Laterality. Make sure you're clear on that. Reporting same diagnosis code for more than once. This is telling you how to report this diagnosis code if it is more than once. Okay? All right, so let me get back in here. Okay, impending or threatened condition, sequela, yes. Combination code, acute and chronic conditions, yes. Okay, so you should be B. Remember I said don't pass B. Okay, don't pass B. So you're in section 1. This is going to be continued over in the Sapphire Academy, so I'm going to jump over there when we come out of here. But this is where you should be at Y2U. And I just put it in here. Remember, I was talking about this right here. This is just telling you what you're getting ready to read. So I'm gonna take it down because I don't want you to get confused. That's just telling you what you're getting ready to read. It's just an outline. There's no reason for me to have to go over that whole outline. You can do that. Valerie, I'm getting ready to jump into Sapphire Academy. We have to continue this further. Y2U, you will definitely have another class on this. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to drop that there. And again, don't forget you guys can go to that website and you can get material from there. So I'm just trying to make sure that you guys are on the same page. Everybody on the same page. So your immediate, I'm going to go over this real quick just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So remember we did part 1 just the other day, right? We did part 1 in the guidelines and we were talking about, where it came from. We were talking about a lot of abbreviations. That's right here. This is right here. That's what we did already. Okay. We did. Y'all can go over that again. I told you I'll go over it 20 times. So this is where we're at right now. ICD-10-CM official guidelines for coding and reporting, right? Because you did some of that the other day. And this is me getting you used to the ICD-10 book. Get used to the book should be second nature to you. You should be able to find what you need to find. So section 1, conventions, general coding guidelines, and chapter specific guidelines. These are descriptions of what we're getting ready to study. Okay, that's all it's telling you. We're getting ready to study the 7th character. We're getting ready to study abbreviations. We're getting ready to study the tabulars. What is the tabulars? Where is it? What is excludes, nodes, excludes terms? We just did this, but I'm just going back over this just so you can see. So here, A, conventions, right? A, conventions, right? B, general coding guidelines. Acute and chronic. Remember, I just told you that acute, chronic. This is just telling you what we're getting ready to go over, right? I do not want you to do C. You'll skip over C. Okay, you're gonna skip right over C, even in the other section, and you jump in right here. Okay. So what time is it? I can't believe it. This was like the fastest class we had in the world. I'm telling you, I didn't even get a chance to do everything I wanted to do. So you guys know it's going to be another chat. So section 1A and B. So you see how I'm saying section 1A and B? On your CPC, they gotta ask you where is acute and chronic description. What you gonna say? 1 decimal A decimal B decimal C1. See? But look at it. Look at it. Okay, so that's your homework tonight. We're already an hour in. So section 1A and B, and yes, we're going over it again. Okay, we're going over that part again. Okay, I want to see what index cards you guys have. Go to the bookstore. Okay, it is right here. Go to the bookstore, and I have everything in the bookstore. Okay, go to the bookstore and get your program. Okay, that's the website right there. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. And remember, this is a beginner class. Okay, so my beginner students, you are going to know the coding book inside. It's going to be your bestest friend. Okay, it's going to be your bestest friend. You must know the ICD-10 book. Okay, now I'm getting ready to get into the Sapphire portal. Valerie, I'm going to meet you over there. Okay, I'm going in there right now. I'm going over the same thing that I'm going over right now. We're gonna go into it a little bit more in depth. I need to make sure all of y'all on the same page. So this chat, I'm going to also load in there. So make sure you guys look at it. Okay, I'm going. Your next class is going to be tomorrow. Now I will have to probably do that class very early. It might be 9 o'clock. It might be 9 o'clock when I do that class. Um, and it's okay because the section A and the section B, make sure you guys email me if you have any questions. Um, I.A.B. No C. Okay. I.A. and B, no C. Okay. 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 Only. Not C. Can put it up there. Okay. And this is, thank you, Mina. Okay. So homework. Go over section 1A and B. You see that? Not C. C is going to be the sections. Okay, we can go over that. Okay, don't do that. Guidelines. Okay, and this is funny. I want feedback from y'all. Tell me how the guidelines are starting to be like nature to you. When you look at it, you're not going, what is Miss Lambert talking about? Now you're going, So this is what I'm trying to tell you. The more you go over the guidelines, the more you succumb to the book. The more you get used to looking at the book. Even those of you who have not been in my class, or even those of you who have taken a coding class and it's coming back to you, because it should be coming back to you right about now. Okay, so that's your homework. Write to you, that's your homework. Sapphire, I need to know where you're at. You guys already got your schedule. I need to know where you're at. Okay, so I'm getting ready to go. I'm going into the Sapphire portal. I'll see you guys there. Do not forget, if you guys want to join the Sapphire Academy, please do so. Do not miss this. Do not miss this. As long as it takes, we won't get you certified. Um, Go and register on the portal. You are paying your cost, and your courses and your program is immediately downloaded. There is also a language of medicine book there. Let me go into this right now. There's also a language of medicine book there that you can download. So if anybody does need a language of medicine book, I have one in the portal ready for download. Okay. So just be precarious about not having the work that you need when you are studying. You have to have your books. You have to have your material. You have to have everything that you need to complete your work. Okay. Hold on. Let me go into here real quick. Um, Let me see if this is updated. It's updated now. All right. So we can actually take a look at the bookstore since I'm still in here. I'm still going to talk for a few minutes because I need to make sure that you guys do know how important it is to do your to read your guidelines. And again, I want to make sure that you have your books in the bookstore. I'm open my bookstore. This is your bookstore, okay? And in here you have courses in here, okay? Your programs are in here, okay? These are your courses, okay? This is your medical terminology course. It has a language of medicine book in it. It is an ebook, okay? Just make sure that you when you download this, it will come with the ebook, the exercises, and your tests, and the Sapphire notes for this classroom. Okay, here, these are the individual courses. These are the individual courses. They are $25. Okay, this is what you need for this course. Okay, you have Sharpies in here. You have your step-by-step book. You have your stickies. Here is your language of medicine book. It is a download. Okay, it is a download. Okay, I have pens in there, pencils in here. I have abundance of stuff in here, and I made sure that I tried to order everything that you guys needed. Okay, so this is the reason why I wanted to expand the store so it could be one stop shop. Okay, so you guys don't have to go all over the place looking for stuff. This is what you need to conclude your career in a CPC. You have your highlighters, you have your stickies, you have whatever it is you need. You have your books in here. You have your coding books is in here. So yeah, yes, you guys can also order your coding books from me. And the purpose of me investing into doing this is so that I can make it easier for you to finish your course. Okay, to do the program. Okay, so I encourage everybody to go on my website and register for the program. The program is only $400. You get more than enough of information for you to pass my class. Okay. Just make sure that you focus. I mean, that's all you have to do is make sure that you focus on the program. Make sure that whatever you put your mind to, you do it. As you can see, we have the AAPC version and I also have the AMA version. So I have both versions. Okay. Just make sure that you commit to the process. That's all. And you don't have to get all the books all at one time. Get one book at a time. Okay, if you're on my website and you go, look, I don't feel like going all over the place to get a book. I'm just going to get my book from Miss Lambert. Okay, just get your book from Miss Lambert. Okay, so I got to go. I'm going over to the portal. So you guys join the program. Okay, go to my website, join my class. It's only $400 for this class. Okay, so I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for having me.